Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Football-Oranje, your home of Dutch football. And this is the start of our Euro 2024 preparations here on our YouTube channel, but also across all of our podcast platforms. I'm Michael Statham, and today I'm joined by Alex and Zach. We're going to talk about the Euro tournament in general. So this is kicking off all the podcasts we've got lined up regarding the Netherlands. So, of course, if you're here and you're new, subscribe to what we do, get involved, get in the comments and see what we ends up getting involved in with all the other shows. We've got a group preview lined up, all the previews of all the games the Netherlands will play, as well as post-match reactions as well. We already have a good following here of English-speaking Dutch football fans. So let's see what we'll get up to today then. We're going to be talking about the tournament in general, seeing how teams get on throughout, picking our winners of the groups and such, until we get to the final 16 and ending up finding our winner. So let's see who our two guests are. Alex, would you like to introduce yourself? And I'm sure people that have watched Football-Oranje before will remember you.
Oh, yes. Well, as as me and Michael talked about off camera, depending if you follow me on Twitter, Eredivisie fans might not be the biggest fan of me this season because I've been standing the debate between them and French football. But yes, it's good. I'm happy to be back on Football-Oranje. And if you're new to me, I'm Alex, quote, Euro expert. And I obviously work for The Athletic, but I am here just on personal opinions. And that's got to be very clear because Euro 2024 prep is still very much in progress. So any terrible takes I have, that's my excuse.
We'll forgive if you take on Turkey 3 years ago. It's fine.
Oh, yeah, please.
And Zach, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, doing very well. I'm Zach Lowy, the co-creator of Breaking the Lines, BTLVID on Twitter. And I'm also a freelance journalist for FOTMob, BetUS, and a few more outlets. So yeah, you can find me on various different platforms.
Thanks, guys. And I just want to say again how excited I am to have you both on here, to have two people who I and maybe some people watching know from online sort of social platforms. It's great to have your opinions on this show. So if I just start then in general, how are you both feeling ahead of the tournament? And are there any gut feelings of teams you think might do well? Any outrageous predictions that you're already thinking of? Zach, can I start with you?
Yeah, you're kind of putting me on the spot. I have not done my Euro predictions yet. My prediction is that even though the final is going to be far away, I think that somehow, some way, England fans are going to find a way to embarrass themselves and their country. Probably expecting some heavy alcohol use. Maybe some naked, topless men. No, I'm just kidding. I just watched that Netflix documentary, Attack on Wembley, and just reminiscing on that ridiculous day. Well, as far as teams go, I mean, I've got to go big on my Portugal. Everybody knows that I love Portuguese football. So I'm hoping the Seleção do something. But I also feel like, this is it's really hard to tell. I mean, I think that most people will agree that England and France have the two strongest squads on paper. But as we've seen throughout the Euros, it's really not about who has the most caliber. It's really about who is clicking at the right moment. And I think that it's a really interesting tournament for several reasons. But for one, I think that this is really unique because so many of these teams, so many of the powerhouses are actually entering their first tournament with their new managers, right? We see that with Spain with Luis de la Fuente, Portugal with Roberto Martinez, Germany Julian Nagelsmann, Italy with Luciano Spalletti. So like a lot of different teams that are preparing for their first major impression with their new team. So I think that it's going to be very exciting to see how these new managers play out.
Brilliant. How about you, Alex?
Well, bar shortlisting Attack on Wembley on my Netflix watch list. I didn't know that was a thing. That sounds great for me to watch after this. I did really like your the point though. Actually, I think that's a good way to sum how I'm feeling about this tournament, which is I don't really know, because Zach's right. There's so many managers coming into this tournament for their first tournament. It's either managers coming in for their first international tournament, Nagelsmann, Ralph Rangnick, I can think of straight away, or managers coming in with newer, fresher squads than before, like losing players. They've relied on the past. Straight away, I think of England with, Jordan Henderson going for the first time under Gareth Southgate, Marcus Rashford as well. So it's basically sums up how I'm feeling. I'm finding it a really hard one to predict and kind of see what's coming. Even just like getting down to the lineups, it's hard to see which players will start, which players will miss out, even from the preliminary squads. So it's a tough one to prepare for. I'll say that much.
And from a Netherlands point of view, I think they come into this as one of those underdogs again. But like in the World Cup, there's this vibe that they could do something here. I remember when the Netherlands went out on penalties to Argentina, and I think that there was a lot more to give there. Like, I know it wasn't the most high quality squad on paper, but there's this always this squad togetherness. I think with the Netherlands the past 6-7 years now. When Koeman first came in, and then we're sort of revitalising the team. We obviously had the bit of time with Van Gaal, and then same again now with Koeman. Even Frank de Boer, as poor as he was as a manager, the team still wants to do really well, and they just was so up for it. And I know you can say the same with like any team. Of course, they want to win the Euros, but I just have this vibe again with the Netherlands. They could do something here. As we go through the groups, I'm interested to hear your opinion on the Dutch. So if I get up the sort of wall chart for the tournament, we can begin. We can begin with Group A. So Group A is Germany, Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland. Alex, what are you thinking about this group?
I am thinking Germany straight away on home soil. I think that's going to be a big factor. Obviously, we saw, barring the attack in 2021, England's home factor did have a big boost, I think. And I think that's. I was watching Jamie Carragher break down Euros 2024, and this is something he's, as a player, has said a lot about, the home advantage comes into it. So I think do you want to predict the whole thing now? Yeah, I'm thinking Germany top. Hungary, I have heard a lot of people speak about as, I think you mentioned, like underdogs, start courses. They've had a really good qualifying campaign, got a couple of good players to rely on, seem to have a manager, a lot of people hyping up. So on the basis of what happened with Turkey in the Euros, I'm putting them bottom, and I'm putting Scotland third and Switzerland second.
How about you, Zach?
I think I'm going to be slightly different from Alex. Don't want to be a copycat. I think fourth, I will actually go with Scotland, the Tartan Army. I think they've got a very good team, but I also have some concerns. I think they've been a bit unlucky with injuries, right? Lewis Ferguson is out, and I feel like, as much quality as they have, Scott McTominay, a really good box-to-box midfielder, capable of scoring some good goals, and some very good defenders, the likes of Robertson and Tierney. I just wonder, do they have that explosive threat going forward? I believe that Aaron Hickey is also going to miss out on the Euros, and I think that could be a really big miss in terms of his attacking verve going forward. I think in general, as good as Scotland are in so many areas, I just think that they are missing that one player who's going to lead the line in attack, right? We saw that in the last Euros where they scored like one goal or something. So yeah, I think that Hungary will probably get third. They've got some very good players. Dominik Szoboszlai, obviously, the pressure is going to be on him after kind of a so-so start to his time in Liverpool. But I think that they are going to give themselves a chance of, getting into the knockout round as a third place team. And then, yeah, I'm going to say Switzerland number 2. I think that they've been kind of overshadowed by a lot of other teams like Belgium and Portugal. But, they have, I think, a lot of quality in their team. Granit Xhaka, one of the best midfielders in Europe this season. They've got Manuel Akanji, a player who's been a fantastic performer at center back. 2 very good goalkeepers in Kobel and Sommer, and Xherdan Shaqiri, who, it doesn't matter whether he's 19 or 39, he's always going to show up for the Swiss national team. So I think they've got a solid spine. I expect them to get second. And yeah, Germany, I think that everybody's going to pick them. I was very impressed with their start to life under Nagelsmann. They played France off the pitch in that recent friendly. And I'm a bit concerned with regards to some areas. Like I think that there's a risk of them having too similar of a front six, if that makes sense. I feel like there's a chance that Nagelsmann's going to try to like pull a Spain 2012 and fit in like 6 different midfielders. Potentially have like Kai Havertz, who is kind of a hybrid 9 attacking midfielder up top, and then having like 3 attacking midfielders in Gundogan, Musiala, and Wirtz, and then Andrek and Cruz. It's a very good team on paper, but I'm still wondering like where are they going to be able to put in some pace and power, like Sane or Fulkrug, some players who are going to give them that X factor, or is Nagelsmann going to try to just focus on having the name of the game be possession, trying to play his own style, go with trying to fit in all of these midfielders into one team. But yeah, with that being said, I do think that Germany, they have the quality to win this thing.
Yeah, excellent summaries, guys. And I actually can agree with Zach with his order of those 4. And we can touch more upon Germany a bit later, of course, going through as group winners, seeing how far they can get. I also think Scotland are going to finish bottom of the group. And I know there's this, definitely the UK, there'll be this vibe that they can do something, can get through, because second and possibly even third could go through. But I also agree with what Zach just said there, that I just don't, they're missing something there. And I think Switzerland as well will have a bit of an edge over the other 2. So I'm gonna set that for the Group A, whilst you guys talk about Group B. So Spain, Croatia, Italy, and Albania. Oof. Albania top anyone?
You know what? Like I'm currently reading a book on the history of Albanian football, and as somebody who's like favorite right back was LCD size for like several years, like I really hope Albania can shock some people and do something, but nah, I don't see it. This is the toughest group possible. Even if they were drawn into a weak group, it was always going to be very tough for them. But it's like, man, you're going up against 3 of the best teams in world football. So yeah, Albania will definitely finish bottom. And then that's where it gets tricky. I feel like this is like, more than any other group, it's one where I could honestly see these 3 being in any order. But I'm going to go with, I'll say Spain. Do I go with Italy or Spain at the top? I'll go with Italy. I am Italian-American, so a bit biased. But I think that they've got some solid players. I think Gianluca Scamacca is in fantastic form for Atalanta. And I feel like he's going to have a really good tournament. He's going to show that he's the number 9 that Italy have been waiting for so long. So I'm backing him to have a breakout campaign. And I think that there's a lot of promising players in that team. I'll go with Spain next. I was a bit frustrated with some of De La Fuente's calls. Like, I think that Pedro Porro, to not make the 30-man provisional squad and be left out for like a Jesus Navas who's going to retire in December, for me, it's just like De La Fuente sticking a middle finger at the Premier League and like, you know what, we don't care about you, Tottenham Hotspurs or whatever. But with that being said, Spain, they do play some fantastic football, and I think that they've got a lot of quality in midfield. I think they're going to be able to control proceedings. And they've also got 2 very good wingers in Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal, who have the potential to form a really nice pairing. Then Croatia, I think that, it doesn't matter whether they get 3rd or 1st or 2nd. I would be very shocked if they don't make it to the knockout rounds. It's Luka Modric's last dance. Every player in that squad knows, like, if you don't make it to the knockout round, you are a national embarrassment. You will have let Modric down in his final tournament. Shame on you. So there's going to be a lot of pressure, but I think I'm hoping that Croatia go far. I think that there's a lot of promising players outside of Modric. I think that obviously Gvardiol has been phenomenal as of late for Manchester City. You've also got a lot of other promising players in that team. I think that the center forward position, that's going to be very interesting as well. Like, of those names, like Kramaric, or Levaja, all of those players Budimir as well. I think he's going to be fit in time for that. Like, are they going to be able to find somebody who's going to step into Mandzukic's void and chip in with those goals? That's going to be a big question. That's going to be really important in terms of determining how far they go, because, you know, as good as Croatia have been over the past decade, they really haven't done that much in the European Championships, right? I think they've gotten knocked out in the round of 16 each of the last 2 times. So this is a really massive tournament, and I expect them to do fairly well.
My thoughts, I think, are a bit different to Zach and more serious than the last one. It's because I think Albania, I agree they're likely to finish bottom, but I think they had a really good qualifying campaign. They only conceded 4 goals. Admittedly, it was a fairly easy group. They had the Czech Republic in there, they had Poland finishing third, then it was Moldova and the Faroe Islands. And the Faroe Islands, you know, I've got them here. They've got 2 points. It's kind of hard to imagine anyone losing to them. So, but I do think they could cause even the draw could like be a big upset for one of the other 3, and like that might be enough to see them finish third and cause a problem. I do think Italy probably the most convincing. I guess I think Croatia, the fact they've still got Zlatko Dalic, the same manager who's been leading them through so much success, gives me a bit of hope. I think inherently I want to put Spain quite high, but due to their performances in recent international tournaments, I'm also kind of thinking, like, is that just because I'm imagining lots of good players there? They've not actually been particularly great at international tournaments for quite a while. So maybe I'm thinking Italy and then possibly Spain, maybe Croatia, either one of those 2, and then Albania 4th. I think it's really a toss-up between those last 3, and I guess I just feel a bit more sure on Italy going through.
I think this could be the group where there's tons of draws and top team has like 5 points or something. I can't decide between Spain and Italy at the moment, and if they meet late in the tournament, I also won't be able to decide then too. But I am pretty certain about Croatia and Albania being 3rd and 4th. And I said because I think Croatia have had, like you guys said, you know, they've not been brilliant in the Euro tournaments, and there has been, great fighting spirit and lots of luck actually on the way for Croatia getting through some previous tournaments too. So maybe this is where it sort of dies down a bit for them, but that luck ends a little. But as for the team that finished the top, my gut says Spain, so I will go with Spain, considering I believe then that would vote Spain to be top. Have you both gone with different options? Am I correct saying that?
Yeah, I went Italy top.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Italy as well.
Okay, well you've outvoted me, and we'll go with Italy top, and then we'll go Croatia and Albania.
Yep.
Okay, so next one: Slovenia, Denmark, Serbia, England. You know, you got 2 English people on the show. It's gonna be very hard for us not to put England top, I think. And the quality is just, they're so stacked, aren't they? You've got Phil Foden, has just been incredible in this season, and that even if you lose someone like Kane, who's not having a great day, Ollie Watkins coming off the bench. I'm an Aston Villa fan at heart, and he's been brilliant too. So I think we can touch more upon England maybe a little bit later on if you guys are in agreement that they probably finish top of this. But who finishes second? Who could come third here?
Oh, after you, Zach, I'm not sure.
You know what? I almost feel like this is kind of like a polar opposite of Group B, because Group B, it's like a 3-way toss-up for first place, whereas this one, everybody knows that England is going to, like, they could go with their U21 team and probably still top this group. But then it's like, you know, you got a Slovenia team, which has, you know, like you got a player in very red-hot form in Benjamin Sesko, a fantastic goalkeeper in Jan Oblak, and then a lot of incognitos in defense and midfield. So I guess it's kind of an incognito, like I said, a lot of unknowns there. But I'm gonna probably say Slovenia get 4th place. Could be wrong, but I think it's going to be a toss-up between these 3. And then I will go with Denmark 3rd. I think you know, Denmark, it's like the craziest swing out of all these teams. Like, they went from coming within inches of the Euros final to finishing bottom of their World Cup group. and it's like, will the real Denmark please stand up? But yeah, Serbia or Denmark, really. I guess I will go with Serbia third, Denmark second. I want to say that that Euros run in 2021 was not a fluke. I think that you can't underestimate the impact of like Eriksen's his tragic incident and the pressure and motivation that was on those Danish players playing for their captain. But I still think that Denmark, though, I think that they've got a lot of quality players there. Rasmus Højlund, has had a fairly decent debut campaign at Manchester United. Got a lot of other promising talents in there as well. So yeah, I'll say Denmark, but I feel like this is going to be. My prediction is that England will have sealed first place after 2 match days, and this is going to be like a three-way scrap for second place that's going down to the wire. I'm going to say that it'll be very competitive between those three.
I was just looking at Serbia and Slovenia in the European Championship, and Slovenia I think have qualified for once since 2004, so that didn't surprise me. But Serbia are actually the same. They've not. This is their first European Championship, I think they've qualified for as Serbia. So a real lack of experience there, which I'm quite surprised about. I think this Denmark are quite a safe bet. I think their World Cup maybe is a bit more of a flash in the pan. Like they're poorer form and they've got a good squad there. So I think it'd be fair to say England versus Denmark second, and then Serbia, Slovenia.
I think both Alex and I can agree that Serbia are basically like the European Nigeria. Like, if there's ever a coach that finds a way to get 5 center forwards on the pitch at the same time, like that will make Serbia into World Cup winners. Getting like Mitrovic, Jovic, and Vlahovic on the same team at the same time, and just allowing them to just bomb forward and destroy opposing defenses like that. That is going to be the key for them. But yeah. Apart from that, it's a real big unknown.
Yeah, it's for that reason though, that firepower that I'm actually going to go with them seconds, just maybe to edge it, unless you both disagree and we'll put Denmark second, especially so. Even it is a bit of a toss up. I think let's have a bit of a story that Serbia, since of course splitting from Montenegro, like they'll now have a chance to make their own history. This could be it. So let's go with that. Let's see where that leads us. It seems to have frozen, but we can talk about the next group in the meantime. So Group D is the group, of course, that this show will be dedicated to, the next show, the next podcast. The Netherlands, Austria, France, and Poland. I think when this was first drawn, there was a chance that it could be the team that comes to the playoffs, and it made the group look a bit weaker than it does now. Now that it's Poland that has come out, I think it's going to be quite a sticky game against Poland, making it more tricky. Added to the fact that there is also already France in it. But I still am confident the Netherlands can finish second in this group. And when you look at the ramifications of later in the tournament, finishing second actually could be better for the Dutch. But let's hear your opinions on this, because there'll be a lot of Dutch football fans listening to this thinking, right, let's hear what these two got to say who don't support the Netherlands.
Zach, we have the potential to do the funniest thing and both vote the Netherlands bottom.
I know, right?
And overall, Michael. I'll go first. I'll go first on this one, because I think looking at the rest of the group, I think to a casual eye, this looks like the group of death. But I think Poland will not do particularly well. I think just based off what my current feeling is, like a little bit of research, I guess, into it. But I've watched a couple of other games, believe it or not, pre-tournament, because I've been watching other teams in their qualification group. I think the Poland will disappoint at the Euros. So then you're looking at Austria under Ralf Rangnick, and I have not watched any of Austria under Ralf Rangnick. I'll say that first and foremost, but I'll be interested to see how they play, because if it's again completely wide of the mark, but if they're going to go out and try and press high, so playing sort of a club style way, that'll be really interesting, because that's typically not what you do in international football. It's more about sitting deeper and getting into a mid-block. And while teams have got a bit more aggressive in recent years, England are a case in point of that. They've got more aggressive in their pressing over the last 3 international tournaments each time, winning more tackles in the final third. I still think it's a bit of a risky way to go. So I actually think this group could be fairly predictable. I think France, Netherlands, Austria, Poland. We'll probably end up touching more on the Netherlands later, but yeah, I think that's basically the order I see it going. The more predictable route.
Yeah, I think Les Bleus are going to have a fairly easy time getting first in this group. I think that they've got one of the best teams in world football, and I would be very surprised if they don't at least make the semifinals. As far as the other teams, yeah, I agree with Alex. I think Poland were actually they played some of the most dour football in the World Cup. I think that they were incredibly lucky to even qualify for the round of 16. But for me, it's just I don't see. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to surround Lewandowski with enough creative threat. And I think as a lot of people have seen with Barcelona this season, when Lewa isn't really getting those goal scoring opportunities, he can seem quite anonymous. So I think that their Euros really hinges on how he does. But I think that they've kind of had a hectic few years, getting to the round of 16, then sacking their coach, then bringing in Fernando Santos. That didn't work out at all, and then sacking him and bringing him in, kind of in a state of flux. I think that Austria will probably just edge them out to third place. I think that Rangnick, he's definitely capable of putting in a solid formula to success. I know that they will be missing out on David Alaba due to injury. That's a huge blow, but confident that other players like Kevin Danso can step up and fill his void. So yeah, I think that they will do fairly well. Let's not forget, Austria were very close to knocking out Italy the last time they were in the Euros. So I think that they should do fairly well and will be capable of at least getting third place. Netherlands, yeah, this is a bit of a tricky proposition. I have to say I was a bit surprised with some of the choices. A lot of impressive players that missed out on a call-up, like Joshua Zirkzee and Thijs Dallinga. A lot of quality players nonetheless. I think that, of course, Derun's injury, that's going to be massive as well. But I think that they are still capable of making a decent run. I think that a lot of it is going to depend on whether or not Memphis Depay is going to spend the next month training and hitting the gym or trying to get ball girls numbers in the French Open. But we'll see what happens there. And but yeah, no, I think that it'll be they'll have enough to at least make the knockout round and maybe claim some scalps along the way.
We'll take that right now. But yeah, look forward to talking about them a little bit later in the knockout rounds. Hearing some people's opinions outside of the Netherlands who will give a good view on the team. So I'll stick with what we said then. Let's make this a bit more of a predictable group. France, Netherlands, Austria, Poland. So next, this is one of the teams Alex, I think, has been researching, Romania. But we've got Belgium, Slovakia, and Ukraine joining Romania in this group. So talk to us about this one, Alex.
You set me up there. Yeah, Romania had a really good qualification campaign. I have been researching them because I'm covering them for another podcast solely because that podcast couldn't find someone to cover Romania, sad enough, with enough time on their hands to go and watch for Romanian international matches. But they came to me, the right person. They've quite an interesting team. I just mentioned about the pressing thing. They're a team that looks to kind of press high at times, but it's quite well organized. So it's quite interesting. Like in terms of individuals, there's not that many like you'd recognize at all, really. So like the main one I think is Radu Dragutin of Tottenham. So it's they're an interesting team, but like broader in the group, I think Belgium are the team to watch here because I've forgotten they didn't get out of the groups in the World Cup. They lost to Morocco, I think, on the final group day, and they've rejuvenated their squad. They're under Domenico Tedesco, so it's another new manager having his first new tournament. And like a continued trend here, there's another club manager. He was previously in charge of RB Leipzig. It's another club manager in charge of an international team. So pressure will be on him, like Nagelsmann, to say, okay, can you bring something to the table that international managers of the standard mold aren't bringing? They've been in good form. So I think I'd go Belgium top, probably. And then I haven't looked so much at Slovakia and Ukraine, so it's hard to say. But I'd probably I think I would end up going Romania because they're in good form. And then just off what I know, probably Ukraine and then Slovakia. But I really couldn't tell between those two. Maybe Zach will fill in there.
Yeah, I think I think Belgium will get a fairly comfortable first place finish here. I think they've had a fantastic start to life under Domenico Tedesco. You've got Romelu Lukaku leading the line, and he's going to want to put in a really big tournament with his future up in the air. I think that he's going to be massive as usual. But I think apart from him, you've got Leandro Trossard having a fantastic season at Arsenal, then a lot of other promising X factors who can come off the bench and exploit tired legs like Johan Bakayoko, Jeremy Doku. So yeah, they're going to get I think a comfortable first place finish. Apart from that, I think that I will have to say Romania bottom. I know, as Alex said, they've been in very good form, but I just wonder if this is going to be a bit too far for them as far as making the step into a major tournament and showing their skills. But you never know with this year's. I think that this is quite a wide open group. But I'm going to go with Romania at the bottom. And then third and second, that's kind of a toss up, a bit of a 50-50. Slovakia, I would not write off that easily because I think that they do have a solid spine. David Hanko been very important for Feyenoord in defense, and with between him and the captain Milan Skriniar taking the armband after Marek Hamšík's retirement, I think that's a really solid pairing. In the back, you've got Stanislav Lobotka, who, despite Napoli's terrible title defense, continues to be one of the best midfielders in Serie A. So good at setting the tempo and orchestrating possession. And I think that he is going to be really decisive in terms of, allowing them to, find a way out of pressure and progress the ball. For me, such a fantastic midfielder. And a lot of other promising players. Robert Bozniak having a decent year with Boavista. I think that he's going to be a player who knows that if he has a good tournament, he could get himself a big move. So yeah, I'll say Slovakia at third, and then Ukraine in second place. I really like this Ukraine team. I think that they've got some very good goalkeepers like Lunin and Trubin. And you look at throughout their squad, like Zabarny and Mikolenko playing regularly at the Premier League level. Alexander Zinchenko getting a chance to operate in midfield and captain the side. Obviously, this is going to be a really emotional event for them. The first major tournament since Russia's invasion. So I think that these players are obviously they're playing for themselves, for their careers, but they're also playing for a country that has been put on the brink by external factors. So I think that between those players, between the likes of Sahenkov and Mudryk, who can be very decisive going forward and can really provide them with some pace and trickery, that's going to be incredibly important for them. And of course, the number one man to watch in this Ukraine side, Artem Dovbyk, right, becoming the first Ukrainian player to win the Pichichi, the first player outside of Barcelona and Real Madrid to claim the Golden Boot in Spain since Diego Forlan 15 years ago. He's been so important for Girona, and I just love watching him play. He's like a magnet in the way that he can just take a ball that's going 40 yards out from here and just glue it to his chest, turn around and find the player in position. He's not just a typical target man. Yes, he's very good at holding up the ball under pressure and turning and swiveling, but he's also so good at bursting forward, combining in attack, and he's a player who is so good at snuffing out these goal-scoring chances. And I do feel like Ukraine, they have the tools for a very deep run. Dovbyk, he's playing like a man who wants to fill that void that's been left really since Andriy Shevchenko's retirement. He's out there to show that he is going to be the next top striker from Ukraine. So yeah, I like Ukraine's squad a lot. I think that it's been 5 years since they won the U20 World Cup, and I think that is kind of a natural succession plan. That a lot of those players are in the national team right now, and they're about to make a huge impact in the biggest stage in European football.
I have a similar opinion to Zach with bigging up Belgium and Ukraine here. I think these two will be the top two, and the top two with a good number of points as well. And it'll be between Slovakia and Romania to scrap it out for third place when they play each other. So I will go with the top two being Belgium and Ukraine. And Alex, would you like to have Romania third?
Yeah, I think that's got to be fair enough. They were actually, tell you what, just the fact they were unbeaten in their qualifying group, finishing ahead of Switzerland.
Oh, interesting. And yeah, as we go further on that, let's see how that pans out. We've got one more group then before we talk about the third place ranking. And I feel like so far we've not had that group which could just completely turn up on its head and come up with something really random. Could this be the group for this? Turkey, Georgia, Portugal, and the Czech Republic. Zach, I feel like you're going to be shouting for Portugal to finish on top of this, and player quality would suggest this would be the case. So if I start with Alex, actually, do you agree with me that this could be one of the groups to do this, or do you think there'll be a bit of the usual order to proceedings?
Again, I find it hard to predict, but I feel like this. I don't see Portugal like messing this one up.
Okay.
I think they I'd expect them to finish top. I'm never going to trust Turkey in international football again. With Georgia, they came in through the playoffs, right? And I don't say obviously a key player would be Kvaratskhelia, and then they've got Mamardashvili in goal, which could be a big bonus because he's been one of the best shot stoppers in Europe this season. So that's something I guess I hadn't thought of. And then the Czech Republic's one of the teams I've been looking at. They're fairly okay, seem like pretty solid. So to wrap it up quickly, because I know we've got to talk about the quarters and etc. I'd probably go Portugal, Georgia, Czech Republic, and then Turkey as revenge for 2021.
Yeah, no, look, I like Alex got totally burnt by Turkey last time out. And when I say burnt, I mean like real burnt. Like I'm gonna look like Alex after a week at the beach, because that's just how red I was. I literally picked Italy to beat England in the final, and yet I can't even humble brag and show my bracket because I also had Turkey making the semifinals, and people were like, "What the hell were you thinking, man?" But you just had to be there. So yeah, Turkey, I'm sorry, but I love so many players in this team. Arda Güler having a fantastic campaign for Real Madrid, ending the season in red hot form. Hakan Calhanoglu, probably the best midfielder in Italy right now, and so many other promising stars like Kenan Yildiz and Ferdi Kadioglu. But I'm gonna go with Turkey fourth place. Maybe they can prove me wrong, but I doubt it. Czech Republic, I'm going to go with third. Let's not forget they had a very strong tournament last time out, getting past the Netherlands and making it pretty far. Going to be very incumbent on two players, I think, Klozek and Schick, the Bayer Leverkusen duo. And of course, I believe Matej Kovar. So the Bayer Leverkusen trio, see how they hold up and perform. I think that they're going to do fairly well. But yeah, I'm going to surprise some people, and by going with Georgia, I think that they've got a really interesting spine. Georgi Mamardashvili, one of the most promising goalkeepers in La Liga, having a very solid campaign for Valencia. And then you got this really interesting 1-2 punch in attack with Kvaratskhelia, who has been just such a delight to watch for Napoli. Played a pivotal role in their Euros win. Such a tough dribbler to stop, to knock off the ball, and he's a player who I think is capable of threatening every single defense. And I mean every single defense in this group, including Portugal. But for me, the biggest star, the biggest player who could really make Georgia be the dark horse of this tournament is Georgios Mikautas. He was top scorer in Ligue 2 last season, led Metz to promotion, then got a big money move to Ajax, didn't do anything there, then returned to Metz and has been phenomenal. Has basically kept them in the top flight. I know they've still got to play Saint Etienne in the promotion relegation playoff, but like he has just been absolutely lights out since returning in January, and I feel like he's almost similar to Aguero in the fact that he's not the biggest player, but kind of his close control, his physical power, and his ability to just bomb forward and shoot from any direction, any angle makes him just such a dangerous striker. So I feel like this is a player who I almost think that not working out and not succeeding at Ajax may actually be a blessing in disguise, because the way that he's performed for Metz the past few months, the way that the way that he could perform in this Euros, I think it could make him a very wanted man in this summer's transfer market. And I know that there's been some talk of Monaco wanting him to replace Wissam Ben Yedder. But I absolutely love Mikautas. I've been talking about him since he was in Belgium. This is a really fantastic player. And I think that Georgia, there is something special about any team that's playing in a major tournament for the first time ever, right? They want to be that, they want to make their mark. They want to, come there to stay, not just to say that they've been there. So I feel like Georgia, they are actually going to be my dark horse. I'm going to pick them to go second.
I've got to try and balance all of these opinions out. So I'm going to come in like a wrecking ball. I'm going to say Portugal top then. Agree with both of you two. I'm going to go Czech Republic seconds, Georgia third. And I kind of have to put Turkey fourth now with both of you having your fingers burnt last time. But definitely can't be slept on. And it could be one that people go, actually, yeah, Turkey could do something here. So I'll balance that out then and put teams in that order. And then it comes to the third place ranking. So a little glance of the last 16 there. Let's not get too excited. Where do you see these teams finishing then in this? You have to think of it as who's going to get a win. Is there a team there that is going to beat the team that finishes bottom and that sees them through? Because I don't think a point's going to be enough. It's going to be at least 2, 3, if not 4 points to see you through. How do you want to do this?
I think the third place one is always like, you can do it quite quickly, because I think it's one where you can talk about, I think you're right, but equally our predictions could be wildly off. So I'm hesitant to.
It's going to be so wrong.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to embarrass myself too much with it. So I'd probably be, but agreeing with your logic, I'd probably be putting Hungary. I think Group A, those good points to pick up there. Like from Scotland potentially. Croatia, that's a tough group, so I'd actually be negative against them. Denmark, that could be a good group for points. So I think Hungary, Denmark, Austria with Poland there as well. And then as we just, Group F was a tough one. So I think Hungary, Denmark, Austria and Georgia. I think those would be my 4.
I will say Croatia, Denmark. Well, I guess I've got to pick Georgia since I had them going second in their group. I will go with Austria and, well, I literally didn't even pick Romania. I said Romania were going to go bottom, so I'll have them bottom. And then I guess what team did I miss out on? I forgot.
I can see where this is going. And I'm going to pick the 4 that we're kind of mentioning here. And I also think Croatia won't make it, because I think with the low amount of points in their group, they could knock them out. Let's stick Georgia through, Austria, Denmark, and Hungary. In what order? Well, I guess we'll just do it a little bit randomly. I'm going to go
Yeah, I don't think that's too much.
Denmark, Hungary, Austria, Georgia, and then knock the other two out. There we go. So the last 16, according to us, will be, as you can see. And if anyone listening on audio only, we've got Germany against Serbia, Switzerland, Spain, Italy versus Georgia, England versus Austria, Portugal, Hungary, Netherlands, Ukraine, Belgium, Denmark, and France versus the Czech Republic. I can see the Netherlands Ukraine one being a bit of a debate between three of us already, with how much you bigged up Ukraine. That could be one to knock the Netherlands out. And I think I would implore you to look at the quality the Netherlands have got. And I think it could get us going somewhere in this tournament. But of course, you both could vote me out here on this. If we start with Germany against Serbia, is anything going to stop Germany here, you guys?
No, I don't think so.
Unlikely.
I mean, the home advantage is a big thing, and like actually, when you talk about home advantage, just something to mention for Ukraine. Germany has more Ukrainian refugees living in the country than any other country in the EU, so that's just something to think about for later as well. But yeah, home advantage. I think Germany the favourites there. I don't see them going out.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if Vlahovic plays the same way he played in the Coppa Italia final, I think Serbia may have a fighting chance. Park the bus and just hoof it up to him and Mitrovic potentially. But I think Germany will pretty comfortably get through. Yeah, 100%.
What about Switzerland, Spain then?
Oof, Switzerland and Spain, that's kind of tricky, right? That went down to the wire last time, right? Going all the way to penalties. But oof, I feel like this, I think it goes to extra time actually, but I will still say Spain just about edge it. But yeah, I think that's going to be very tricky. I think Switzerland have a very solid team, really good at soaking up pressure and hitting on the counter. I think that they're not to be underestimated, but Spain might just have a little too much in the way of firepower, right? Who is going to step up in terms of those goals and provide that attacking prowess, right? Embolo has kind of had an injury-plagued season. Is it going to be Noah Okafor, who's been Milan's backup striker? Is it going to be Zeki Amdouni? That's going to be the biggest question for me with regards to Switzerland.
I'm actually going with Switzerland. I think I have this exact matchup in my predictor, and I think the Spain problem will be I don't see where the magic comes from to unlock the defense that Zach is talking about with Switzerland. I think it's going to be a similar problem to a really good defense, and maybe you have a Morata come out of nowhere who has had a strong season, but I can see this is BRB pulling another upset. Again between Switzerland and Spain. So I go Switzerland. So it's down to you, Michael, to split us.
Wow, funnily enough, I think Switzerland will do it. They'll know going into this that this could be the matchup they end up having. That it'll be a top team. They'll be well up for it. Whereas Spain have just come out from having the group of death and have now got to play Switzerland and probably have to try and break them down for most of the game. So as soon as it came up, I thought I think Switzerland could do that. So let's pick that then as one of our shocks. How about Italy versus Georgia? Now, Zach, you bigged up Georgia, but do they get past Italy?
I'm going to take advantage of being slighted to say that I just check out breakinglines.com. We just launched a deep dive on the state of play of Swiss football, both international and domestic. Really good article today. No, I think Italy will probably get the job done and beat Georgia as much as I like this team. I think that they have a very solid team, both in terms of their attacking prowess as well as that ability to impose their game in possession. Got a fresh new squad. It's kind of a team in transition almost when you look at the amount of change that's happened from the last Euros, right? A lot of players have dropped out like Bonucci, Locatelli, Verratti. With that being said, though, I think that Spalletti is going to get a tune out of them, and I'm expecting them to go through.
Alex, you go with Italy?
Yeah, I'm going Italy. Not
Okay.
much to say on that one. So
I'm also pretty confident on England beating Austria. And I think England could come and stick a little later on. We'll have to see what we think as they get matched up. But same thing here. Don't see this being a problem.
Yeah, I think if there's one thing people will say about South Africa, I think something everyone can agree on. England do well against the smaller teams under him. It's when it's the bigger teams, it's where it gets a bit more divisive. So I think England v Austria, I'd say England get that through.
No, I totally agree. England, they've got a phenomenal team, even with a lot of, like, in my opinion, head scratching omissions. Like Rashford, they have the quality to not only make the final but reach it. I think that most of us can agree that the roadblock that is kind of standing in their way is Gareth Southgate a good enough manager to take them to the promised land? I'm sure that's something we'll be discussing in depth.
Portugal, Hungary. I think when it gets to a stage like this, I don't think Portugal slip up. I think the only way they can slip up at this point will be in the group stages sort of early on, if they have a real stinker. But I think in this matchup, it's got to be.
I guess I've not watched enough of Portugal to take a proper comment. My intuition is, I think the interesting thing here will be, I was talking about with someone, a Portuguese person at the weekend, is Ronaldo going to play? So I think Ronaldo, for me, can be a problem if he's just going to swallow up so many shots and they're going to be low quality shots. That's where I'd get a bit fearful. I think I actually back Portugal against better teams. It's against a team like Hungary, where I think, a well-organised defensive team, could you have problems? Could you struggle to create clear chances because A, it's a good defence, and B, because you have a player taking up a lot of those chances. So I think I'd still back Portugal in this, but this where I'd be kind of wary.
Wow, it's taking me back to 2016, right? I think Hungary faced Portugal in the group stage back then. I remember, right, their goalkeeper with the sweatpants on. That was such a fun tournament. But yeah, I think Portugal pretty comfortably get through. But I agree with Alex. I do think that the Ronaldo situation has the potential to be a storm cloud hanging over Portugal's tournament. Like people will hear this discourse and think like, oh, you're just saying that because he's playing in Saudi Arabia. No, actually, as somebody who watches pretty much every Portugal match, I can tell you that even when he was playing at United and Juventus, it was clear that the decline, that his physical decline was taking a toll on Portugal's collective performances. And that's something that, when Ronaldo's on the pitch, there are some players who almost feel like they need to pass it to him at any possible avenue instead of taking a shot or a cross, and it's almost like his gravity sucks away the creative balance from the team. And yeah, so I think that in order for Portugal to go far in this tournament, Ronaldo has to be on the bench. I don't know, maybe Gonçalo Ramos in his place, maybe João Felix, I'm not too sure. Maybe even Bruno Fernandes at the false nine. But ultimately, I just don't think that Ronaldo is capable of starting and excelling in international football anymore. Father time comes for everybody, and frankly, it's come for Ronaldo. So yeah, he should be on the bench. I'm just not too sure if Roberto Martinez has the cojones, as we say in Spain, to drop him and go with his best team. Ultimately, a lot of these things are influenced by politics, right? And by finances. Ronaldo, as far as his commercial impact, you could argue that he's even bigger than Portugal with the amount of fans he puts into seats, the amount of jerseys he sells. So I do think that there's some concern from the Portuguese Federation on dropping him. But ultimately, you need to forget all about that. You need to focus on getting back to the promised land, okay? The past 8 years since that Euros title, frankly, it hasn't been good enough for Portugal, in terms of their major tournaments. And so you need to go with your best team. You need to go with the team that's going to allow your team to breathe freely and to play its aesthetically pleasing style of play. I think that Portugal, to Roberto Martinez's credit, and I've watched pretty much every single game under him. I think that they have done a better job of not just playing for the bare minimum, but actually playing to entertain fans, to play to try to get the most goals and rack up the scoring. So I think that they have done a very good job of showing that possession heavy style of play, showing that if they do go up 1-0, they're not going to sit back and soak up the pressure. But yeah, it's going to be a very tough decision for Martinez, right? Is he going to go with the lineup that is going to please Ronaldo, or is he going to go with the one that's going to allow it to flow freely, right? In order for this team to go all the way, it has to be like a river, right? You can't have these things blocking the river from flowing freely, right? You need to make sure that this team is going to click on all cylinders and that there's going to be the right balance.
Okay. I still think later in this tournament, Portugal will come unstuck. Martinez being the manager. But I think they get through here. How about the Netherlands versus Ukraine then? Remember, I just want to remind you, both you're meant to be on a Dutch football podcast here, that we need to keep putting the Netherlands through. But this is quite a tricky match, isn't it?
Yeah, I was reading comments from, I think it was Ronald de Boer, but the other de Boer earlier, and he said something interesting about Koeman's tactics, that said that similar thing to Portugal, that it's developing quite a good underdog mentality. So again, this is a sort of match where I'm actually a little more fearful. I think Netherlands go through, but I kind of think you'll be better off against the quote unquote better teams again, which is an odd one. But yeah, I'm not. Purely as well because I haven't watched so much of Ukraine, but I liked their squad at the last Euros. But when they came against England, they kind of fell apart. So I wouldn't expect them to go too far this tournament either.
I've pretty much only picked the favorites so far, so I think it's only right that I go with an upset this time. I'm going to go with Ukraine over the Netherlands. Like I said, man, they've got a really promising front line, but also some players who are just warriors who are going to cover every single blade of grass. I think that they've come a long ways since that fairly so-so tournament in the Euros last time out. Like I said, they're playing for something bigger than just a trophy. They're playing for their country, playing for all those millions of people who need something to cheer about. So I feel like Ukraine are going to surprise a lot of people and go far in this tournament. And yeah, the Netherlands, they do have a better team on paper. That's undeniable. But I feel like Ukraine are gonna pull off a huge surprise and get to the quarters.
Thankfully, you were outvoted 2-1, Zach. So then this.
The good news is, even if the Netherlands finish bottom of the group, they're still they're gonna rotate the same managers like they've been doing for the past 20 years, right? Van Gaal,
tell me about it.
Van Gaal, it's just a game of musical chairs.
And it's incredibly frustrating. It's something that's come up on our podcast a lot. The fact that manager will keep getting rotated. Yeah, just a bunch of Dutch people. Why can't we go for a foreign coach? I mean, Ajax have finally broken the mold with Farioli, and it's about time the Netherlands do that as well and go with someone a bit different. But yes, that is a topic for after the Euros when Koeman is likely to be sacked after getting knocked out against Ukraine. But no, if they continue to do well, which at the moment we're saying they will go just edge through to the quarterfinal. Out of these last two, then you are right, Zach. We haven't really picked many shocks. We've had a Switzerland against Spain, but where's that Eastern European sort of team there to just sort of represent that side of Europe? And to be honest, you're looking at Belgium, Denmark, France, Czech Republic, and again we're going, well, Belgium will get through there, France will get through there. Is there anything different to that sort of status quo that either of you are thinking?
I think France will go through. No doubt in my mind about that. I think Belgium, Denmark will be quite close. I think while Belgium kind of spoke about before, so I don't need to dwell on it again. But on paper, they've got a few weaker players in their team. Like they've got Oro Mangala, I just saw starting in their midfield. I think Jerry Doggers had a bright season, but he's not prime Eden Hazard. So it's a weaker Belgium than we're used to seeing versus a tight team in Denmark. So I think that could genuinely go either way. So I'm happy to be a neutral vote in this one, to be honest, and be swayed by our review.
Yeah, I think France, they've got a phenomenal squad. Kylian Mbappe, after having a fairly disappointing semifinals performance against Dortmund, I think he needs a big campaign to just remind people that he is arguably the best player in the world. And yeah, as amazing as he's done in his first two World Cups, let's be honest, that Euros last time out was quite a disappointment for him. So he's going to come out strong, I believe, and I think that he's going to make a genuine push for the Golden Boot and easily get past Czech Republic. As far as the other match goes, I think that yeah, it could perhaps go either way, but I'm gonna back the Red Devils here. I think that um, this is kind of a team that is in transition, right? This is a team that is, I think quite a few players from that disappointing World Cup have left, such as I believe Alderweireld is out of the team, and perhaps a few more. But I think that this is a team that is going to be fairly solid. That has enjoyed a strong start under Tedesco, and I think that they're going to be quite solid in all departments. I expect Belgium to at least get to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, to be fair, I think Belgium do have those exciting players now that just persuade me, I think, to get past Denmark. So that actually completes our quarterfinal lineup. Let's click it through then. Let's see who these quarterfinalists will be. So Germany, we said Switzerland, Italy, England, Portugal, Netherlands just, Belgium, and France. So the quarterfinals will be Germany versus Italy, Portugal versus the Netherlands, Belgium versus France, and England against Switzerland. Giant killing Switzerland. Wow. Where do you start? A lot of the favourites here have made it through. Germany versus Italy then. That is a heavyweight quarterfinal.
Yeah. I think there's two games that I find simple here. Actually, no, I find 3 of the 4 games on screen quite fairly simple to say. And Germany, Italy, I think might be one of them. I think Italy's got a very strong squad, but I'm still gonna back the home advantage. I'm still gonna back, like Zach said as well. Nagelsmann's had a really nice start, and I think he's a very good manager for international football. It seems like he's not trying to do club style football. He's come with a very tactically versatile approach, and that might be the opposite of Spalletti, who's I think quite principled, who wants his team to play a certain way. So I think I'd be backing Germany just off that sort of feeling, but obviously it's 2 very good teams. Two very good teams are hard to separate. Do you want to go one by one still? I could go through the rest if you would like.
Yeah, let's go through each of these quarterfinalists, and then we can each have a turn giving our thoughts.
Sure thing.
So go for the next one then.
Okay. So Portugal, I think that's the hardest one to call. I think that's really evenly matched. I think it's 2 teams that kind of I expect to kind of play a similar way. I think based off what we said about the Ronaldo effect, I guess I kind of back the Netherlands because I expect them to be the better, all well-rounded team. But again, that's one I think that's the toughest one to call on paper. Belgium beat France. I think France go through. England beat Switzerland. I think Switzerland go through. I think those are the 2 easiest ones to call her.
Did you just say Switzerland will go through against
England to go through. Okay. My apologies. It's getting late.
I also think home advantage will be key for Germany, and it will just get them over the line. I'll come back to the Netherlands one. Yes, I think England will beat Switzerland. I think lightning strike twice if Switzerland, if that's the way it does go, as unlikely as it will be. And then as for Belgium, France, I think this is where France will show a dominance. Belgium aren't quite the finished article. And then Portugal versus Netherlands, for me, is the one that really, really, really would be quite on the day 50-50. And this is where I'm going to try and separate myself as a fan here. And I still think the Netherlands could do this. This is where, like you guys said before, actually, the 5-3-2, it's set up here to beat a team such as Portugal. And I think that will work here. I don't think it will keep working, but I think it could work against Portugal to show the Netherlands can be the real deal and can go far in this tournament. I sense Zach might have a different opinion, though.
Yeah, I think Germany will go through against Italy. Unfortunately, I think that there's so many fantastic players in this team, but I think that Musiala and Wirtz, those are going to be the 2 real difference makers in this team. And I just wonder, like, do Italy have a player of similar proportions who is going to be kind of that supporting creative playmaker alongside Scamacca, right? We know that Berardi is out injured. I think that Chiesa has not had a great season. So, like, who is going to provide that tantamount level of of dynamism and unpredictability? I think that Germany will go through. And then let's say I think France will probably get past Belgium. I like this Belgium team, but France, they are just on another level when you look at the quality of every single position, really. I think that you've got a solid mix of veterans like Giroud and Kante, as well as up and coming youngsters. So I think that France get the job done. England, Switzerland, yeah, I would not be surprised if that tie is done and dusted before halftime. I will go with the three Lions. And then Portugal, Netherlands, yeah, I could see this going to extra time, but I'm going to have to back the Seleção. I think that ultimately they will just have a bit more in terms of in terms of unpredictability, in terms of ability to both impose their game on and off the ball. So yeah, I'm going to pick Portugal.
And just to be clear, Alex, who did you pick from Portugal against the Netherlands?
I picked the Netherlands.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
I mean, of course, Alex would pick it. Like the color of their kit is the same color of his hair. Like,
very good.
He is kind of biased.
Hey, you have the opportunity to do us over with the one of these semi-finals.
So I think this is finally where we can get Zach's wish and dump the Netherlands out. I think Germany will do it here. Yeah. And they'll have had a good run with Dutch, but this is where I think it's over for them. And then the other one, wow. And the same thing, maybe this is where Southgate, the Southgate factor has an effect, and France will just have that edge, because that's what these matches are down to fine margins, and we've not even spoken at all about how long campaigns have been at club level, how that will impact the squads here. It was part of what I was thinking earlier with Scotland. John McGuinness had such a long campaign with Aston Villa and has actually lost some of his magic throughout it, and I think that will have an impact for him at Scotland level as well. So what about these two semis and you guys?
I'd like to make a case for Southgate, to be fair. I think, I mean, I'm an avid Southgate defender, and that's because I think there has been clear development for England since he took over. The 2018 World Cup, England were a counter-attacking team. In the semi-final against Croatia, they held 44% possession. That they held the identity of underdog. Then in the Euros, they were kind of in between. They're a bit more mixed, and it kind of came undone eventually against Italy, but they played Germany in that tournament. Obviously, weaker Germany, but still, they were able to outplay them there, but they were still a bit conservative. I think in the last World Cup, we actually saw really dominant England. They dominated the ball against France in the semi-final. They outdone them for possession. Not to say they were the best team or anything, but at the same time, it was fine margins. Harry Kane scores his second penalty. Who knows what happens, right? So I think there's been clear development for this England team. So I don't think this is just a case of what many people might think, Southgate drifting into another tournament. But obviously, it's not to undo against France. France are, probably the favourites of the Euros, favourites for any international tournament they enter because the players they have. But I think we saw Kyle Walker handle Kylian Mbappe well before. Kylian Mbappe's struggled this season, particularly against teams who know how to prepare for him. So, and then you combine that as well with, some of France players. Look, Deschamps leading on, getting older. I guess in contrast to England have ditched players like Jordan Henderson, for example. Deschamps has recalled N'Golo Kante, which is interesting. So I'd make the case for that respect in England over France. I think my head probably says France, but my heart obviously says England. But I think that's a much closer tie than it was last time on paper, and in practice, I really could see it going England's way.
Yeah, I am gonna go with Netherlands to make the final.
Mm.
No, I'm just kidding. I've literally, it feels like Groundhog Day. Like I literally picked you guys to be out like the past two times, and now I'm still having to pick. What the hell? Yeah, no, Germany. I think they go through to the final, and then France and England. It almost feels kind of like, Manchester City, Real Madrid in the quarters, like
Mm.
arguably the two best
Yeah.
teams on paper facing off, not in the final. Kind of a buzzkill, but yeah, it should be a fantastic occasion for sure. I actually feel like England are going to avenge their World Cup defeat and get past and make it to the final, though. I think that when you look at the team, I'm a bit more surprised. I'm a bit more confident about the way that these England players are performing. They have been, apart from getting knocked out in the quarters to France. I think they have been pretty much on an upward trajectory since Southgate took charge. Bukayo Saka doing his thing for Arsenal, providing that 1v1 ability, and I think as well Jude Bellingham, Phil Foden. That is a really promising front three behind Harry Kane. Um, and then, of course, you've got Declan Rice holding it down in midfield. But I'm really intrigued to see, like, how does Southgate kind of fit in all of these players? Because I think that Foden is a lot more effective when he's being played in a midfield position, in a number 10 position. As far as Bellingham, it's kind of similar. You want him closer to the opposing box. So, like, are they going to be able to fit those two players into the same team? I mean, they have to find a way, given their world-class quality. But yeah, I'm gonna say England go through. I think that they are a fantastic team. You look at the quality, just so many great players in every single position. And like Alex said, I think that if there is one player who's going to be able to handle Mbappe's speed and ability to exploit defenses with his movement in behind, I think it's Kyle Walker. And I think that's going to be a really big a really big battle that's going to determine how this potential semifinal goes.
Two humongous ties there that could really go either way, I think, and it will be there'll be great football matches to watch. I can't see any boring affairs here. 0-0 going away to penalties. I can't see any big tense ones. I think we're going to get two tremendous games of football. So Zach, just to be clear, your two finalists would be
My two finalists would be Germany and England.
and Alex.
Exact same.
Then I feel like I can't vote against you at this point to put the Netherlands in there. But I do think Germany would keep using that home advantage to get them through. Of course, it freezes again, but I think we all know who the final is going to be: Germany versus England. And if I'd said to you guys before all of this what the final would be, would have you picked out a Germany-England final?
Yeah, it's on my other screen.
Exactly. So, Alex, you already said, didn't you, that's what happened when you went through the route.
Yes, and yeah, and I mean, come on, if it's a Germany England final, you can't not pick England. Come on, guys, has to be. No, to be fair, you could argue England have more recent experience in a final. Well, you don't even have to argue it. That is true. I mean, yeah, it's a final. It's a one-off game. Absolutely anything can happen. So it's a bit.
It would be the final to win of all finals for England, though, wouldn't it? Wouldn't you say?
Yes,
After, of course, 1966.
And to be fair, you read. We read a book called Tour: The History of German Football, which came out 20 years ago, so it's a little outdated now. But you don't realize like a lot of German fans hate playing England because they've just got this. I think they just got this historic, a bit of inferiority. I think there's waned a little more recently, but some of their worst results have been against England, like to suffer. Obviously, that one, I think it was the 5-1, I want to say, like 20 years ago. That was like a really big one. So it's great. It's a great game here. If it is this, my heart would be able to take it. But I'd like to say England win because, of course, I would like to say that.
This is a really tough one. I feel like I'd be inclined to go with a penalty shootout.
Also, England lose.
uh, yeah. No, I mean, look, I said that England would get revenge on France. I'm gonna say that Germany get revenge on England and make it through and win the final. I just feel like, you know, there's really not too much in between these two teams. You know, you could argue that England have a stronger team on paper. Well, obviously they have a much better center forward in Harry Kane, whereas with Germany, you know, a lot of incognitas. Like, is it going to be Havertz starting? Are they going to go with a more traditional option like Undab or Fulkrug? But ultimately, I think it's going to come down to the manager. And I think that as much as Alex loves to defend Southgate, I don't think even he would argue that Southgate is a better manager than Nagelsmann. But yeah, I think that Germany are just going to be able to showcase their composure and make it two Euro final losses in a row for England. We shall see what happens. But it's like this England team has probably the best team on paper in all of world football. There's really nothing stopping them from winning it apart from the manager. Like that is the biggest question mark. You know, I was not really a fan of some of his decisions in the last Euros final. I think that he has the potential to shoot England's progress in the foot. So yeah, I think that it's gonna all come down to how Southgate handles the situation, whether England do go down or take the lead. You know, how are they going to react? What are the in-game substitutions that he's going to make? But for me, that is really my only question mark with regards to the three Lions. Is Gareth Southgate a good enough manager to lead England to their first trophy in 58 years?
Yeah, I think there is obviously it's classic to have an English person saying England will go and win the Euros, but I think I suspect from like a European perspective as well. This is the tournament where England have been seen as their best shape, like more than any other year. Like 2018, I think most people didn't think they'd get out of the groups because usual England. I think 2021, I remember that I was someone who's saying Southgate needs to go. There was a lot of hate going towards him. 2018 World Cup. 2022 World Cup, sorry. Again, that was like, okay, England have improved, but so many great teams. We're going to get undone against a team like France. Obviously, we did. I think, like we kind of mentioned, there's a lot of players who've come up good recently, like Saka, like Foden. And there's been clear, steady progress to it. It is to a point now where England are on a dangerous spot where I think if we don't get to a semi-final, I think that's going to be viewed as a disappointment.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, it's just so fine margins, isn't it, in the final? The difference.
Yeah, you could call it anyway.
Yeah. But because I'm from England, I'm just gonna click England and go England. Interesting. The most picked teams to win the tournament. Of course, we've got France, England, and Germany, and it's not really a surprise, is it? But I feel like the tournament's going to have more surprises than we've said. It just as always the way. And as for the final winner, though, I can't look past maybe one of those three favourites. I think it will be one of those three.
Yeah, I can see that as well.
Yeah. And I think that over the past few months, we've kind of gone from, France and England being the two main favorites to Germany kind of sneaking their way in that discussion under Nagelsmann. I think that win over France, although it was a friendly, I think that was massive for their confidence and just their ability to kind of shake themselves off after a difficult few years and realize, like, you're Germany. This is set up for you guys to go far, right? Toni Kroos's last ever tournament, the chance for the likes of Musiala, Wirtz, Gundogan to combine and play incredible football. But how do you say football is coming home in German? Der Fußball kommt nach Haus. That's my prediction.
Alex, I've really enjoyed doing this, and ended up becoming a mammoth podcast. But I hope people really enjoy listening to us talk about the tournament in general. And just to remind people, of course, we are a Dutch football podcast, Football-Oranje. So if you liked this and want to check us out some more, we're doing a group preview. As if this wasn't enough, we'll be doing a group preview looking at the Netherlands, France, Austria, and Poland. We've got a guest to represent each nation in that conversation. And then we've got much more coming up, previews of each of the games, post-match podcasts as well. But Alex, Zach, thank you again. And would you like to just plug anything, any of the work that you do? Alex, starting with you.
Sure, you can check me out on the Athletic YouTube and TikTok channels where I'm making content on the Euros coming up. So be on the watch out for that.
And Zach.
You can find me on Zach Lowy as well as my website, breakinglines.com. I also host a weekly football podcast, Zach Lowy's European Football Show, on Bet Central. So we are going to be covering the Euros, the Copa, and plenty of more footballing content in depth this summer. And yeah, you can check that out on YouTube as well as Apple and Spotify and any other podcasting platforms.
Thank you very much, everyone, for listening to this, enjoying it wherever you've listened to this today. Of course, do give it a like to support our platforms and help us grow. If you are new and you're watching this on the YouTube channel rather than in your usual podcast provider, then do stick around, subscribe, and see what else we've got coming up over the Euros and into next season as well, with lots of content on the Eredivisie. I've been Michael Statham. I'm Eredivisie Mike on Twitter, but also we have a website where there's lots more content on football-oranje.com. Thank you, everyone. And of course, leave a comment. Who do you think is going to win the Euros? Are we completely wrong? And if there are any Dutch football fans watching, tell us why actually the Netherlands should have made it to the final after all. Thank you, everyone. Bye.